On this week's episode of Executive Discuss, I have with me a guest, somebody who we can describe as a man of humble beginnings, but who has risen through, the humility of his startup in life to make a name for himself. He has carved a niche for himself, and hardly would you go into any home that you will not find a mark of him, not just in Nigeria, but across the West African sub-region. He is the patriarch of the Adedoyin family, and he is the chairman of Doyin Group of Investments. Please join us as we make welcome Prince Samuel Adedoyin. How are you, sir?
How are you, Lalade?
Very well, thank you. Glad to have you on the show with us.
It's a pleasure having you.
Thank you, sir. Let's start from your story. You are a man of humble beginnings. I'm sure a lot of people will see you and they will say, yes, this is a very successful man. Perhaps for the sake of our viewers who do not know your story, can you tell us how it was for you growing up as a child?
I start, I have to first of all start by thanking God for everything He has made out of me. I have a very humble beginning. I've only had standard for education, and I've never worked for anybody really in my life except for 1 week. All the rest is trial by error, and by the grace of God, I am where you find me now.
Yes, we know that you had a very minimal education, and well, going through your story, you started out being on your own probably from about the age of 11. You, from school, yes, you went into some bit of farming, and then you found yourself on your own. You even stowed away, as we would want to describe it. Can you tell us about that aspect of your life?
Well, the story about where I started from is that I'm from a very large family, 4 brothers who produce many children. And at that time, 70 years ago, they only choose to train one eldest child out of every woman. Wow. My sister was in Lagos with my father, so I'm the second boy. So I was lucky to have been chosen to go to school at that time. And the highest school in our area then, in our own town, was Standard 2. Iludo is a bit 11 kilometers away. I had school up to Standard 4, which I finished. And there's nowhere left to go. So I choose that since there's nowhere else to go, and that's how much they want to train each child. The school fees, of course, was 2 shillings per term, but not easy to be found.
It was big money.
So, yeah, I choose that I will throw away. And if I throw away, perhaps I will find somebody, because we used to receive the catalog of Leonard's shoes and so on, that I'll be able to gain scholarship in England and try to further my education. Unfortunately, we get to Takoradi in Ghana, and we were arrested. And we were about to be sent back to Nigeria, so I plead with the custom officer to please don't send me back, that I would like to work for him so as to retain me, because if I'm sent back, I don't know whether my father will not cut my head off. So he was kind enough to say, okay, be my steward which I've never done before. I did it for a week, and they found me not wanting.
Wow.
So I pleaded that I've never done it before. Can you kindly free me? He agreed. He freed me. And I moved from Takoradi to Kumasi.
Still in Ghana?
Still in Ghana, from Kumasi to Accra. Then Nigerians are much more in Kumasi. So I'm trader for the kind of what I want to do, which is then called Worobo, was moving in Kumasi. I went back to Kumasi and started selling Worobo. And within 30 months, I'll be able to save 52 pounds. And with that 52 pounds, remembering my mother, who is almost unwanted by my father then, I choose I'll come back to take her from Nigeria back to Ghana. But when I went back to my village, which is Agbamu, and I told me that they said she has used me for juju, and she has made many promises and so on, and she has owed about 50 pounds. I was sympathy with her. I chose to give her all the money.
Wow.
So, give her the money to pay her promises and debts. I'm left with no choice than to become a farmer. That's how I became a farmer.
So you couldn't go back to Ghana?
No, I couldn't go back to Ghana. So left with nothing to do. I was going back to the family's farm. No real food to eat. So on Sunday I was looking for pawpaw and plantain, which naturally grew up then without planting. So I saw a disused cassava farm, which I think the hunters during about December to January, they always burn to be able to catch bushmeat.
Okay.
So I saw that land that have been burnt, and it was so fast. So something came to my mind that if I grow maize here, perhaps it will grow. And it takes 4 days when you plant a maize to grow, once there's rain. So I tried it, and the 4th day, it germinates and very green.
Wow.
So I think this would be a good farmland. So I decided to plant maize into all the areas, because there's
the entire land.
The entire land which was available. So about 2 weeks after I went back there, they were so green. And then it's always looked to leave about 3 or 4 maize on each plant area. So I removed the waste ones and then put sand on the 3 or 4 on each heaps. About a month when I went back, you can't believe how green the place was.
The place had turned.
Yeah. Then about 2 months, it started to bring in fruits. 2.5 months, you can't believe the maize, which, because it's a disused cassava land, is fertile. 7 of us are working our parents' farm. And when you look at what that maize farm is germinate and is producing more than what 7 of us are producing in the family farm, because that was land that they have been using several times, and
so
there is no.
I am.
So That's how I did it. My father used to think I'm so lazy, I can't do anything, and so on. Then I believe that wisdom is stronger than power. So when I saw the yield, I'm thinking, where will I store it? Then where will I say that I've got the farm from? Exactly. So I pleaded with my father to follow me to the farm, which he grudgingly agreed to. When I got there and got him there and told him this is my farm, he wouldn't believe. So I borrowed area to store the maize, and we've quarreled over certain cloth with the Lagosians, but sometimes back that he said I'm lazy, I can't buy it. Oh, I sold the products for 54 pounds, and I took 2 pounds. I brought it to Ibadan myself, Orita Mary. Took 2 pounds out of the money. I bought suede shoes, Koro Adele. This is the word, but my father said I couldn't buy. Then I bought it. With 2 pounds, my suitcase is full. Wow. So I went back, I told them, this is Koro Adele, which you said Lagosians are using. And the other clubs I bought with suede shoes and so on. May I go back to Lagos? My mother pleaded that I shouldn't go back to Ghana. I promised that. So that's how I came to Lagos. It only helped my father. I brought everything to Lagos. Wow. I've already matched my companion. I have better clothes now than them. So I came to Lagos. I rent a stall from, forget the name now, Somori. Okay. He was like Babaji Abuden, who always take him pools. So he's the one who always take pools on horses. At Tafa Balewa, there were also race then. So I rent a stall there. Within about 2 years, I have a friend called Owokonela, where I moved to. I was able to go and have a shop in the Sumo Street. The Sumo Street, we started hawking. Within a year, I started ordering biro, pens, umbrella from Hong Kong and so on. And within the third year, I bought a land. At the age of 19, I built a 27. You were a landlord already? Already. At the age of 19, I owned a 27 bedrooms house in Moshi. Wow. And there, enjoyment started. I was able to buy a Volkswagen land. With one other, I was able to buy a house at £9,000 in the Sumo Street. That is how God started blessing me, to cut the story short and not to waste your time. That was how my humble beginning started.
You obviously have quite an interesting story here that you have shared with us. But as you were talking and I was looking at you, one thing that kept coming to my mind was this. You started out so early. You knew what you wanted. You went for it. What was it that, gave you this assurance, this confidence that even at such a tender age, you could take on the world and conquer?
Well, I think it's with the help of the God Almighty, because In running of the race, there were many of us. Only few are able to succeed. Among what them is this Razak Okoya.
Oh, yeah.
That was how we became friends.
Okay.
And also I tried to teach myself how to read, how to speak by reading, hearing radio, because there was not television being honed at that time. And trying that I don't want to be backward wherever I am speaking, with the determination that when I have my children, I'll be able to send them to the best of schools. And one day I took all the children, I have 7, took them to England for all of them to go and read. Some did exceptionally well. One of them became a minister, and many of the rest are doing well. And that's how I started and where I reached. But from one point, if I get to one point, I try to move a step higher to another point.
The home front is indeed very important, and we've heard from our guest how he has striven to give his children the best form of education possibly. Why not let's meet one or two of those children of Prince Samuel Adedoyin to find out what he is like as a father.
Prince Samuel Adedoyin is my father, yeah, and my mentor, and my biggest supporter and critic. There are 2 descriptions. There's a description I grew up with, the person I believed him to definitely be when I was growing up. And then there is the person who I have come to learn that he is, right? So growing up, there was something really very authoritative and hard-handed and, you know, just tough and taciturn even about him. But I'm starting to learn that there are some of these values that are required for success that may be even challenging to the person trying to be successful. The difficulties of the being a morning person and being at the office at 7 a.m. and having the wisdom to know how to invest, where to spend the money, where to not spend the money, who to hire, who to fire. You know, there's there are two people in one to me. There's a general and there's a shepherd. This is my father to me.
I would describe Prince Samuel Adedoyin as a very tenacious person. He doesn't take no for an answer, and whatever he sets his mind to achieve, he does that. He's very disciplined, very regimented, but also very kind and very generous. A bit of a disciplinarian. He ensured that we were well behaved, but he was also fun. He used to take us swimming. We used to watch movies with him. So, very loving man in his own way.
This is a person who operates on a very high level in terms of efficiency and productivity. And, you know, it's something we struggled with. You know, growing up, not being able to meet up, we struggled a lot with that, and it definitely caused some tensions, but it was all for the best, because that was the very best example for us at the time, even though we didn't know it.
He has shaped me in many ways, I would say. I remember when I wanted to go to university, I wanted to study. Initially, I thought I'd be a doctor. And I think that stuck with him, and he liked the idea. And then I decided I wanted to study hospitality management, which he was not very keen on. So for my first 2 years of university, I was actually double majoring in medicine and hospitality management, up until the time I did a short feasibility study for him. And I think he understood that it was a business degree and I had some business acumen, after which he agreed. So I grew up going to factories and sites with him, and that really shaped a lot of the decisions that I've made in my career in going into real estate development, which I believe is the bedrock of the economy and every society.
It's very impactful on my standards. No matter what it is, it has to be the best of it. No matter what you give, it has to be the best of it. You can't go somewhere and be mediocre. You have to do more than what you're paid for. You have to be prayerful. You have to be hardworking.
24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You can watch NTA International live on your TV, computer, iPad, tablet, and phone. Log on to visiontv.co.uk and click on Entertainment, then NTAI. You can also download the iOS or Android app on your mobile devices to watch NTA International on the go, anywhere in the world. NTA International, your window to the world.
Now, talking about your line of business, you, like you said, you've taken it one step at a time. But hardly would you go into any home today and not find a mark of doing a group of investments there. What informed your decision to go into the brand of business that you do, that touches lives directly?
Well, the reason why I went there is that I have determined I will not be in contract. I will not go to beg for any favor from any government. I've never had any contract with any state government or federal government. I've not asked for oil concession or anything. I just decided that I will do everything which will make me be independent of every government or organizations. So if I go into consumer products, which the poor and the rich can buy, it will help me to be independent and I can earn my daily bread. That was the reason why to go out of politics and to be independent of all government institutions that make me to go into those consumer products.
It's still Executive Discourse, and we've been talking with Prince Samuel Adedoyin. Why not let's take a pause here to get to meet one or two of the members of staff that have worked with this man who has been in this business for so long, to find out what exactly he is as a boss and, of course, as a colleague in the business of consumer products.
I met Baba by way of employment. I was employed there in January 2001. And all along, he has been a father. He's not a boss.
I met him when he was actually looking for a general manager for the hotel arm of his property, which is Benny Gold. So I came in for an interview, and I was interviewed with several other people, and I became successful, and I took up the appointment.
I call him Baba because he's Baba to me and to all of us here. Baba is a businessman to the core. I learn every day from his wealth of experience.
He's a very creative person and somebody who believes that nothing is impossible by the time. You can meet challenges, but if you work towards your goal, you always meet them.
Baba is an all-rounder and very humble. So one learns to be diligent when you are working with him, and definitely you will learn a lot of things unknown to you from him, business-wise and all other good areas, especially when you're talking the Christian religion. Very humble, and he encourages Nigerianization. When you look at our group, hardly can you see an expatriate. There is none. Let me say, there is none. Since I came here, he will teach you. If you say you are an office man, it will make you to draw when you are not an engineer, so to say. But definitely it teaches you a lot.
I think to me, what has kept him going is because one, he is somebody who really believes in God. He does anything and wants to put God first. He always encourages that if you want to really achieve anything, you always need to put it in the hands of God. And if you put it in the hand of God, it's going to work. Another one that I see with him is that he's somebody who is always is an intelligent person who is always creative, trying to make things work all the time. He creates a lot of ideas. He tries to put people together, seek their opinion about what he thinks about, and makes it just go. As an individual, I would advise him to maybe slow down because he's always working. He's a 24 hours person. He can call you anytime. He's always wanting to make sure things get done. But I think as an individual, I advise him to just slow down a little bit.
You obviously, I mean, from everything you have said so far, you're a man who started out as a child knowing what you wanted, and, you know, you have built on it at every step of the way. But taking a look at, you know, running business, even consumer products in Nigeria, how, with the business terrain, the challenges, the economic meltdown that was suffered in the world, you know, across the world some time ago, and even with the current economic situation in Nigeria, how viable is business in Nigeria today?
It's not easy, especially now. Before it was viable, now it's too competitive. But yet, there must be a way out for the children of God and those who believe in him. We go into different fields. For instance, I'm back into farming now. We sell to all our products, those products they bring from the north. Okay. The tomato, which you can't grow during the dry season. We have greenhouse farms, which we grow. We are selling to departmental stores, even at this dry season. Wow. And we go into hospitality. I would just think of that, where is any space left that one can move to, that one can have a good daily bread, and that is where I moved to from one point to another. 32 years ago, I started a road for them, which I still maintain till now. And they gave me a kilometer-long land then, which I first of all refused. Then about 4 years ago, I remember that land is there. Why don't I try to establish a farm and employ the people from there? So I employed about 4 agronomists, and we started. And now we are one of the leading producers of those products.
In all you have said, and having come this far, something just, you know, pricks my mind, especially from your family line. Before your father died, was he able, did he accept the fact that, after all, you were not a lazy child, and indeed, you were a hardworking and industrious individual?
First of all, what he tried to acquire from me is patience, ability not to reply when people are abusing or calling you names. Because when he called me a lazy person, this and that, I don't answer him. I know my plans. I know what I can achieve. And when money started coming, and I chose to train all his children into universities, he will not only, and I have already produced sons as lawyers, professors, University of Ilorin and others. And before he died, I've already lived in Rumens Road, then moved to Victoria Island, Bishop Oluwole. And the first time he came to Lagos and he knew that I was riding a car. He was furious that you don't think of building a house or doing this, you are just using a car.
Wow.
And I've already built 5 houses.
Yes.
And he wouldn't believe I took him to my lawyer, which was L.J. Dosumo, who was later become the Nigeria High Commissioner in London.
Yes.
And who lives more or less with me at Alaji Bason, Southwest Ikoyi, where we both built house before he died. So it takes him a long persuasion to believe that I am the owner of what I was showing him, except when, again, I took him to the factory. We are almost finishing at Ilupeju, and all the workers are saying, good afternoon, sir, this, that, and so on. That makes him to believe that I owns it. And then he said, if he comes back, he's already been sick then, that if he comes back to the world, he will be patient, he will not rush answers the way he does, and he will try to be as I do. And he praised God and happy, and he asked me that all he wants is for me to build a church in our town, which I did, and it's the only best church in that town today.
Oh, goodness. I'm so touched by this story. I'm so touched. And
But my
the Lord
mother
rest his soul.
lived over 100 years. My mother really enjoyed my wealth. She went to, even though an illiterate, to Israel, did everything, and he was well buried. My father was also equally well buried, but my mother much, much better.
I'm sure both of them will be, their souls will be blessed in you wherever it is.
I think they are, because God is still very kind. I was at 84, I'm with you in the office. I still work as when I was 20.
Which brings me to your lifestyle, because I was shocked that we were coming to do this interview in your office. I had thought perhaps we were going to do it at home. But here I am seeing you hale and hearty. You're quite agile. What is your staying power?
It's only God. If I tell you this is the kind of food that I am eating, that's a little bit of over-talking. What I have seen is that God has chosen everybody for what he will be, but one has to believe in him, trust and pray, and ask for God's guidance. He's there to help. He's a miracle father, and he still performs, and that's my staying power that I believe. I cannot say that I diet, I still eat pounded yam, I eat anything that I want, and I still enjoy my life to the utmost. So I cannot tell you that it's through my carefulness, although I look after myself well, do my medication, do regular checkups the way I should do. But I've seen those who did that, and they still didn't last long. But all glory to God for what I'm able to be.
Indeed, you're a blessed man, I must say.
Personally, I believe, I know what the answer that he will give you to this question is. But I believe this is something he himself does not know. He will tell you that God is the source of everything, the source of all his success, the source of all his power. And, you know, and he'll be right to not attribute any of those things to himself, because there are some people that you try and copy them, even if they give you the blueprint, even if they tell you exactly what steps to take, who to call, at what time in the morning, what time, you'll not achieve the same level of success. There are some parts of this thing that are beyond us. Of course, if you don't work hard, you won't have a chance. If you don't learn how to deal with people and manage people, you won't have a chance. If you don't educate yourself and train and all this. But still, you can do all those things and still fail. So there are parts of this thing that are beyond us. And I want to say that I believe it's divine. It's divine help. There's something that has been placed in him that even he is at the mercy of, despite his natural drive. The drive is on another level, but I've also seen people with the same level of drive that don't have that level of success.
My dad is someone who strongly believes in the providence and blessing of God. He believes that all wealth, all success comes from and is granted by God. He believes strongly in prayer. And as a child, you know, where you come to know most that my father loves you is when he prays for you and you listen to him. And so in life, in everything, he prays every morning. As soon as he gets into the car in the morning, he starts praise and worship and continues up until he gets to his office, during which they take morning prayers. So he's a very devout man. He's not sinless. Of course, he has his faults, which he readily acknowledges. But I would say he understands the core of the Christian faith, which is that we are justified by faith in God, not in works. And he always encourages his children to know the word of God, to love God, to serve him.
Prince Samuel Adedoyin is a man who has obviously a large heart. You're involved in a lot of philanthropic activities and gestures. Would it be safe to say your humble beginnings influenced you to go along this path, or what is it about you and philanthropy?
Well, I believe that whatever you have, you can't take it back to heaven. You may enjoy part of it. Some will inherit it. The good ones and the bad ones, if you don't want to create a divided family. And if that is your belief, during the time you are living, you have to do as much as possible to make people comfortable, to help people, because if you don't do it, I don't think that living so much wealth without people being able to know how to grow the money to, or in the way you have done it, will help their future. So the more you can try to help all this, the better I think it will be for people who God has been kind to.
You're involved, you started out as a farmer. Until date, you're still involved in agriculture. Now, the government has also been on a drive to revamp the Nigerian economy through agriculture and looking inwards. Are you of the opinion that with the state of things in our agricultural sector that agri can take the place of oil in Nigeria? And how do you think we can go about this?
Not only that agri can do the trick. Of course, the way we did our farming was with barefooted when we started.
Yes.
All those who are doing farming now are with shoes and beautiful dress, not the way we started it, because we do a lot of greenhouse farming where you even not only have to wear shoes, you have even to cover your shoes so that you don't bring germs to the crops. This is why it is possible for you to be able to produce 12 years rand. And also, if you look at when this country gained independence, if you look at what the West is able to do through Chief Obafemi Awolowo, it's all through agric. The Western House, the Cocoa House, the many tall buildings and road built then was through the agric. There was a lot of palm tree plants and cocoa are grown in large numbers. Cashew nut, not many then, which is an added advantage now. If all these are being redeveloped, it will take much more than oil. Only in Malaysia, palm tree alone is doing their trick.
Yes.
Here we have more land to grow more than palm tree. We can grow rubber, we can grow
Even cocoa.
cocoa, we can grow cashew, we can grow groundnut exports. Export. There are so many things that can be done, flour exporting, and so many things that can be done, which we are not doing. You can grow sweet potato, for instance, nothing that our land can almost not be producing. And why I went back to farmers to show that it can be done. I'm there once a year. People are doing it, auditing every week, and they are making profit.
They're making profit. What is your day normally like? I mean, a normal day for Prince Samuel Adedoyin. How does it begin? What time does it begin? And how does it pan out?
Well, you may not like it. They said I'm addicted to work. I enjoy my work very much. But I also play much. I sleep. They said 8 hours, sometimes more than 8 hours. More, I occasionally party, but not over partying. And I do everything in moderation. And that's how I live my life. But to the glory of God, I enjoy all that I'm doing. I don't have to do them anyhow. So if I'm not enjoying it, I would not have been doing it. What I would say that I enjoy I try to make a home everywhere I am, including the office. I have where I can rest. I enjoy my watching television. I do most of what I can do in the house and the office too. So I don't think I regret working. I enjoy working. And whatever anybody says, even if they say that I'm not exercising enough, which I don't believe, for God to let me be in the world at this age. And sitting down with you and chatting and enjoying what I'm doing, I thank God Almighty.
My dad takes work almost the same way that people take their hobbies. So he's passionate about them. He can barely take a vacation. If he goes on vacation for 3-4 days, he's itching to get back to his work. So for him, work is not a task, it's not arduous. It's actually something he enjoys, it's fun for him. And so that is what keeps pushing him, the enjoyment of what he's doing, not necessarily the desire to continue striving or achieving, but he actually enjoys the process of working.
My dad is the kind of person that will send you to your hometown during holidays when other kids are going abroad, and he'll send you to the farm, right? He's the kind of guy who, you're on holiday, long holiday, your school is on strike or whatever, you don't have anything to do, and you don't seem to have any practical skills, you are going to go and spend a month with the mechanics working, right? You are not necessarily, if you work for him, if you happen to do, because I've worked for him before in his companies, you are not necessarily, it took a while before I got an office. You will start in the factory, you will start maybe under one of the managers, you shadow them, you be their slave for some time, and you work your way up to some kind of level of recognition where everybody else, not just him, where everybody else sees that, okay, this guy has paid some kind of dues. He's an actual worker. So if he were to give you an office, if you were to get any kind of special position, it would be fine with everyone. There'd be less resentment because everybody knows you're a worker. So that impacts him. He's not flamboyant with money. We weren't going on holiday, summer holidays to the UK and all this all the time. That's the kind of guy he is.
What time does your day normally begin and what time does it end?
You are going too much into the details. But it's like, as usual, I woke up 6 o'clock, take my breakfast at 8. By 8:30, I'm on the way to the office. Sometimes 20 to 9, I'm here. It depends on, go slow. And I work till 4 o'clock. I close. I rest for 2 hours, take my dinner, then go around my other businesses.
You're also involved in the hospitality business. I gathered that from what we were our earlier discussion. How viable is the hospitality business in Nigeria as a tourism potential?
Nigeria is a very growing country. I started hospitality business in Abuja. I was one of the first indigenous to start Penel Apartment. And then we have expanded it to Lagos. When I say Lagos, we are Ikoyi, Apapa, and so on. And to me, it's a very good business. We don't overcharge. We make hospitality rates to be average so that most of the time we have good occupancy. And we try to be able to train people in all areas of the hospitality business. One of my daughters, special, she went to Cornell University in America because of that. Not because I want her to. I want her to do doctor rate, to be a doctor, but she refused. She chose that line. And it makes her to become my consultant now.
Wow, so you're definitely paying for consultancy services.
She charges me for...
Of course she should.
whatever she does for me. But glory be to God that God is kind.
Prince Samuel Adedoyin, as we begin to round off this discussion, I look at you and you strike me as a very simple man, a man who believes of course, in hard work and in the quality of what you're able to do. What informs your dress sense? I see that you're dressed in white, and I think I've seen you on some occasions too, dressed in white.
I also dress in colors too. Maybe I dress in white more because I love it. But there was a time some people tried to read meanings to it. I said, in order for them not to read any meaning, we're so blue, we're so green and different. Yesterday I wore blue. Okay. I've forgotten about the interview. I will have put on a blue dress. The thing is that I think white is good, and this kind of a dress is so simple that you just put on and you are anywhere, it's acceptable as official dress and so on. That's the reason why I wear it, just for comfort and color as the way I like it. Yes. Nothing more. For instance, you put on a white shoe, I'm putting on a black shoe.
Exactly.
Exactly. That's how it is. Wow. And where you put a black wristwatch,
yes. You have a rose gold there.
So that's it.
All right. Finally, sir, your words of encouragement, advice to Nigerians, because either we like it or not, you're a role model to some people. I'm sure that we have, one or two viewers out there who will be looking at you and wondering at what you've been able to make of yourself and wanting to be like you.
What I want to advise you, your children, my children, is first of all to believe in Nigeria. I've lived in England. There's no place like a home. Blacks are not wanted anywhere more than where they were born. And this is where we have to develop. And there's nothing you cannot grow to be. I started with a shed of 2x4. I have several thousands of employees now in various fields in Nigeria. And even lack of education, if you train yourself, you can be anything. I go to anywhere in the world and I address anybody that I want. If with determination, you can become whatever God will make of you in this country. If we believe in this country, if we strive to develop it, we can make it an American of the world.
We'll definitely do well. Thank you so much, Prince Samuel Adedoyin, for allowing us into your space.
It is a pleasure meeting you, and we thank God for all what we are. And even if you look at it before you go, there's a time that you will be watching television. You don't know that you can be a producer. Yes. If you don't put your mind into it, you will not have been able to do it. Exactly. So if we put our mind into what we are doing, sky is the limit of where Nigeria will get into. And definitely God will bless Nigeria.
God bless Nigeria. Thank you so much. I have been speaking with Prince Samuel Adedoyin, a man of humble beginnings, a man who has done so much for himself, and he's got his hands in a lot of pies. And we have also seen other sides to him. This has been Executive Discuss, and we do urge you to please join us again same time next week, when we'll be bringing to you another individual who has made a mark for him or herself, all in a bid to develop this great country, Nigeria.